All right, guys, welcome back to the $1 Million Standard. I'm Jodi Sodini, your host. So, for everyone listening, I've got a guest on today, Stephen Linton, and he's a high performing speaker, former commercial pilot. I'm so interested to hear about this, and someone who has spent decades operating in extreme environments, literally and mentally. So, what I appreciate about Stephen's work as I was diving in and reading up on him before this interview is it's not just motivational fluff. It's discipline, it's identity, it's this internal calibration that actually supports execution under pressure. And can't we, as entrepreneurs, identify with that, right? That aligns really well with what we're talking about here. So it's a great opportunity to bring Steve on and talk with him. We're talking about raising your standard so that your results are sustainable, not just situational. That's a spicy take right there. So, Stephen, welcome to the show. I'm so happy that you're here.
Hey, Jody, how are you? I'm super excited to be here. Thanks for having me on.
For sure. For sure. One thing that I really want to explore today with you is how internal frequency and identity support discipline and execution. They don't replace them, but they support them. Do you want to expand on that a little bit?
Sure. And I would say this. I've been through the highs and the lows, and it took me a long time to learn these principles. But anything I do in life, in fact, I remember my father talking to me about discipline when I was a kid. Of course, it never really hit home until I became an adult. And I can't tell you how many times I look up and I say, Dad, you were right. It you know, one of these days you're gonna know what I'm talking about. Discipline was absolutely one of the key elements to me making it through the lows up to the highs, and the whole thing is actually very simple, and all I've done is broken down these principles that have been around for eons, I mean, for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And broke it down to a simple law of physics. And what I figured out was that if I stay disciplined and I have a routine that I stay disciplined on, my vibration goes up, my results go up, the people that I'm attracting in my life are all higher caliber. So discipline is absolutely one of the main keys to any success you want to have in your life at any area. And I'm talking personal life, business life, relationships, finance, you name it. It all responds the same. So discipline
Yeah.
is a key.
Yeah. I know absolutely discipline has been one of the things I've had to rely on. There's been a lot of stress in my life, a lot of chaos and unpredicted things. But when I feel like I can almost like rest in discipline because I know that I can be steady and stable if I'm disciplined, specifically for me when it comes down to health and fitness. So I don't know if you know this about me, but I've lost over 100 pounds just eating real food.
Congratulations. You look
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you. Good sleep, drinking lots of water. And then I started hitting the gym and did a whole body recomposition. And it was discipline that drove that for me. So
You hit the
the
nail on
question
the
I
head
have,
there. I was going to say you hit the nail on the head because fitness was where I really first started grasping the concept of discipline. I read a book back in the mid late 90s called Body for Life. You're probably familiar with it, by Bill Phillips. And it was a workout program. And I got it. I read the book and I got into the program. And the one thing that was overwhelming throughout the whole book was discipline. And
Mm.
that's where I first started to grab hold. And as you know, if you go, anything you do, but when you go to the gym, you can go and you can, do a couple sets of this or that and walk around, maybe get on the cardio machine. But if you stay disciplined and set yourself up in a regiment to where every day, this is what I do. Go to the gym,
Mhm.
do pushing exercise, do pulling exercise, I do cardio, I eat right, nutrition. If you put it all together, your results are exponentially higher, and it goes the same in any area of your life. So when you said fitness, you hit the nail on the head. That's where I learned.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's probably a similar path for a lot of the people that listen to this podcast too, is in the gym or in the kitchen, which is where discipline matters so much, but also in our offices and things like that too. So I want to back up just a little bit because I want to talk about like the identity that has to happen before the results. So you talk a lot about frequency and internal state. But in your experience, what happens if someone tries to raise their results without raising their identity or their standard first?
That's a great question, Jody. And let me answer it this way. When you go on a trip, you need two important pieces of information. Number one, where do I want to go? Can't go on a trip if you don't know where you're going. But the second most important thing is, where am I right now? You got to know where you're starting. Otherwise, how you going to get there? Then you can make your
Yeah.
plan. The same thing goes in personal development, anything you're trying to do. You have to recognize who you are and where you are right now before you can start making changes. I call it self image. Your self image is something that was formed as you grew up. And this is the trick. And I'm so passionate about helping people get past this because
Mhm.
honestly, I didn't have a clue of how to do this stuff. And it wasn't until somebody pointed it out to me and said, you know what your problem is? It's your attitude.
Mm.
And as I got into it, here's what I figured out. I didn't like my self image, didn't even know it, but my self image was generated by thoughts and gifts that were given to me by the people closest to me, my parents, my peers, my teachers. You can't do that. Don't set yourself up for failure. Be careful. Those things never work. Why don't you get a real job? All that stuff. And you're beat down from
Mm.
the time you're a kid. Because when you're born, you have a perfect self image. Would you agree with that?
I do agree with that.
There's nothing to bring negative. You don't have any experiences. But as you grow and people start influencing you, your self image starts to take shape. By the time we're
Mhm.
adults, our self image, who we are, is not really who we are. We were molded by the people that were trying to protect us. So, what I came up with was, why can't I just reprogram my subconscious mind, rebuild my self image? And once you do that, it's a process. But once you do that, now you can start out. Here I am. Here's where I want to go. And now you can make that plan knowing who you really are.
That's so interesting. I want to take a second and actually tie this into marketing because I'm a very data-driven person, and also, when it comes to growing your business, if you don't have a benchmark of what you're aiming for, let's say you're making a $500,000 a year and you wanna hit that $1,000,000 mark, like, if you don't have that as, like, "This is my goal," you can't reverse engineer a plan to figure out how you're gonna get there, and if you don't know where you're at right now, you can't make a plan to get to where you want to be. It's just it's lunacy to just like be operating willy-nilly, like wandering around in the dark, having no idea what you're doing. And I don't know how people operate like that.
It's
Like
not their
for me, it's like
fault.
second nature.
They
But
don't know what they don't know.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So like even when we're running like Facebook ads to a funnel, we have our KPIs that we set. Like these are our targets. This is how much money you want to make in the funnel. And because we know what standard industry conversion rates are, we know that we need to spend this much money in order to make that much money. Like it's literally it's so data driven. It's for me, I like taking the emotion out of things, which is healthy but
That's always good.
unhealthy. I don't know. You're not my therapist, so we won't go there. But I'm very data driven. And so if I can understand what my KPIs are from a very data driven standpoint, then for me, success is not even something that I have to worry about. We're going to get there because we get the numbers, we get the feedback, we pivot, we optimize, and things like that. So, yeah, it's a very similar parallel here. Really, really cool conversation. So, all right. Now you've operated in environments where motivation doesn't matter one bit. Aviation, skydiving, high risk situations. So that's not about motivation. It's more about discipline. Here we go talking about emotions again. The emotions in that aren't really relevant. You have to have the discipline and in order to do the thing that you're supposed to be doing. I just want to talk about discipline versus motivation here.
Here's what I'll tell you. With skydiving is one of the best examples. Both flying and skydiving, I use in training situations all the time. And here's the thing. You're talking about emotions. What's the number one thing that holds people in mediocrity? Fear. It's
Fear.
fear.
And I want to name it a little bit deeper than that. I think it's fear of the unknown, especially because if they've never done it before,
I'm
they're
gonna
not necessarily afraid of jumping out of an airplane. They're afraid of like what it might feel like because they've never experienced that before.
the reason most people are uh, afraid to jump out of an airplane, a lot of people are afraid of flying. And I won't even get into public speaking right now, but let's keep it to skydiving. If the reason people have fear is because they don't know how the whole thing works. How does this
Mhm.
thing come out of the how does this parachute come out? How do I know it's going to come out? What if the plane crashes? What if this? What if that? I used to do a face your fear exercise several years ago. Every year I would take roughly 100 people on their first skydive, random skydive. And it was truly a facing your fear exercise. They didn't have to do it, but we encouraged people to do it. And here's what I've found. And I've literally videoed thousands of people doing their very first jump. 99% of them have the same exact reaction. And it's fear as they go out to the airplane, as they ride up, and I'll sit in the back and I'll video their face as we're climbing to altitude. And you can see the fear, and sometimes you'll see tears. It's unbelievable. And here's what happens. We get on jump run, they slide down the bench, and I'm there by the door, and I look at them and I say, "Are you ready to skydive?" Nothing. Lights are on, nobody's home. Then they get in the door, and I go outside the door and I step on what's called a camera step. And I look at the instructor, he looks at me and he says, "Ready, set, go." And we all leave together in free fall, and I'll fly right up in their face. And it takes about 10 seconds from the time they leave the airplane. And all of a sudden they realize, wow, this is nothing like I thought. I thought I would
Oh.
feel like I'm falling. I thought the ground would rush up at me. I thought the parachute wouldn't open, blah, blah, blah. We get on the ground and they'll all say the same thing. "Oh my God, that was amazing. I can't believe I was afraid of that. I want to do that again." So what that equates to in life is once you realize that your fears are mostly unsubstantiated because you don't have any information. People don't know what makes airplane. How does that thing stay in the air? It's physics. How does
Mhm.
that parachute open every time? It's simple. It's a very simple system. And once they get past that, they think, wow, if I just did that, which is probably the scariest thing I've ever done, what else can I do? What else can I
And
conquer? And that's what moves people.
yeah, oh my gosh. So
I'm not
I'll tell
suggesting
you,
everybody should go make a skydive, but if you're interested, it's a big time life changer.
I'm so interested. It's been on my bucket list. I wanted to do it when I was 40, but instead I got pregnant and had a baby.
Whenever you're ready, Jody, you let me know and I'll take care of it.
I will. I'm so interested in doing it. I have a friend that just went recently for the first time and she was like, hands down, you gotta do this. I'm gonna do it again. Like it's not negotiable. Like this is something I'm gonna do on a regular basis. Like it is amazing. I was like, okay, all right.
But that
I
is the number one thing that holds people back from achieving success or higher levels is fear.
Yeah. So, what do you think then that high performers do differently when the pressure increases, when the fear creeps in, whether it's like a financial pressure or emotional pressure or family or operations in their business? What is it that sets the high performers out apart from, the people who aren't able to be in
Discipline,
leadership?
discipline. There's an old saying, I've said this for years: feel the fear and do it anyway.
Ugh,
Don't want to
yeah.
go to the gym? Do it anyway.
Mm,
Don't want to work in your office? Do it anyway. Don't want to call leads? Do it anyway. Don't want to
yeah.
put marketing ads out? Do it anyway.
Yeah.
And it simply is discipline. And it's not that you're conquering fear. you're coexisting. You are working around fear. We
Hmm.
can work with fear. Fear is an emotion that sets people back, but it doesn't have to. Once you
Yeah.
know, just like in the skydiving example, once you understand why you're afraid of something or why you were afraid of something and you realize it was nothing like that, things are, you start to look at things differently.
Yeah. Huh. The wheels are turning in my head. I'm thinking about so many things. I have a lot of things to think about post episode at this point. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, all right. Coexisting with fear, meaning you can hold on to that and it's not like a hot potato that you got to let go of,
Right.
right? You can exist with it.
You don't have to let it rule your life. You
Yeah.
are in control all the time. So if you choose to let fear hold you back, it will, but you don't have to. It's simply a choice. I'm going to do it anyway. Now,
Yeah.
that sounds simple, but once you do it, just like in the skydiving example, once you move past that first thing, and I recommend start with something that you're deathly afraid of, because if it's like one of the highest fear producers for you, once you move past that, again, you're going to go, wow, what else could I do? Why have I been
Yeah.
afraid of this? And then you'll look at stuff that you're not, that doesn't bring as much fear and go, oh, that's nothing.
Yeah. For sure. Gosh, I have so many things running through my head. There's a whole lot of personal development potential here for me as I'm thinking as you're talking. It's incredible. It's incredible. And I'm also thinking about relating this like to my kids and how I talk to them and validate their feelings, right? So my 4-year-old, he'll say, like, "Well, mom, I'm afraid of the dark. I don't want to do that because I'm scared of that." And what I'll say is, "It's okay to be afraid. I get scared sometimes too, but we're going to walk through this and we're going to do it anyways. But it's okay to be afraid." And I'm thinking, how do I do that so well as a parent for my kids? And I actually do this for my clients when I'm like, listen, I get it. We're talking about risk tolerance when it comes to throwing money at Facebook ads. We're going to do it anyways because the data shows we're safe, right? The data shows, the facts show, standard industry conversions show that we're going to be okay. And if we're not, we pivot just a little bit and we adapt and overcome. So, so
Jody,
many parallels here.
most people are just like you, me included. I'm really good at doing things. When I was in college, I was really shy, wouldn't go talk to a girl, but I would be out with my roommate or something who was really shy, more than me, and he'd say, "Oh, that girl's really pretty, really pretty." I walk right over and talk to her for him, but I wouldn't
For
do it for
him.
me. So,
Yeah.
what I'm getting at is most people are just like that. They'll do things for other people,
Mm.
feel the fear and do it anyway, but not for themselves. But yeah, I can't do that. I can do it by other people, but I can't do that. And that's what we've got to get past.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I feel like I had a lot of that at one point and I've kind of like stepped back from that. So I was a paramedic and firefighter for 13 years before
Thank
I
you
did
for your
that.
service. I was an EMT. I was a EMS pilot myself for a while.
Oh gosh, that's so cool. Yeah, I have a friend who went on to be like a flight medic and stuff like that. So super cool. That always intrigued me. But yeah, like that setting the fears aside to get the thing done because I mean, there were so many standards in place, so many protections in place that it's like, is it dangerous? Yes, but there's this whole operating framework that's set up for you to be safe in. So I can see how that can play
Can I
into
add one more thing to that thought?
yeah, for sure.
So what I recommend, and you look at your top performers in any area. Let's look at sports. Michael Jordan, who I know there's a big debate about LeBron and MJ. I'm not going to touch
I'm
on
a
that.
MJ fan personally, but
I'm an MJ guy because I grew up back then. It seems like the younger generation lean towards LeBron. But here's the
yeah,
thing: Michael Jordan, he's just one of many examples. But even at his best, he had a coach.
mm,
You've got to follow. Success is relative. It's relative. Success to me would be different than success to a multi-billionaire, right?
yeah,
So Michael Jordan had a coach. Doesn't matter how good he always continued to get guidance from his coach. And that's
yeah,
what I did was I looked to people that could help me. This bookcase back here is full of personal development authors. And because I learned that I can't do it myself, all by myself. I have
Yep.
to have somebody to teach me. And once people accept that it's okay to have a trainer, a coach, to work with someone like yourself, that's when things start to open up and people start to see real success and real progress.
So how I want to get a little personal here. How do you personally recalibrate though? Like when you feel off, if something feels like it's starting to slip before it shows up in your performance, what is your strategy there?
There's a couple things I do. If it's just a situation where, I feel like I got out of bed and I just wasn't hitting on all cylinders, I'm a little, groggy or, not very motivated. There are things that I do, and I know people are going to laugh, but I'm weird.
Right. We embrace weirdness around here. Weird people unite.
So I love to watch videos of puppies, any cute little animals running, goats with pajamas, chickens with fuzzy feet. They make me laugh. The
Mm.
other thing I do is I have two binders up here in my other bookcase. One is a goal binder, where I write my goals down. They're written in a contract form. And the other one is an achieved goal binder. Like you just said, if I'm having an off day, one of the things I do is I'll go open my Achieve Goal Binder book and go, look at all
Mm,
this amazing stuff that I've done. And it
yeah.
brings back my worth, my energy. I feel better about, more confident. There's a lot of things you can do to get yourself out of that funk. Those are just a couple that work for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Super practical ways too. Like anybody could do that. And, the algorithm shows you what the algorithm shows. Somehow you got goats in pajamas and silly chickens.
Have you seen those videos? They just make
Oh
you.
yeah, for sure. My sister sends me stuff like that all the time. What's been bringing me so much joy lately is I recently took in a 3-year-old Bernese Mountain Dog, and I have a
Those are
2-year
such
old.
amazing dogs.
Yeah, I have a 2-year-old and she's about 80 pounds. Bear weighs 200 pounds. He's like
Wow.
one of the giant ones. And when I first got him, he was like sad, depressed, like I didn't know it though. I just thought he was like super chill. He wouldn't bark. He just laid around all the time. But I think he was just like sad and depressed. It's been about a month. He's come into his personality. And so now he's like fetching and like jumping and hopping. And it just brings me so much joy. I find myself laughing all day long at this giant, like potato shaped dog he brings me so much joy. So
He's a
I
working
like that
dog.
you lean into laughter.
He's a working dog, and most working dogs, like border collies and Australian shepherds, which I've had both, they have to have a job. And if they
Yeah.
don't have a job, then you have to fill in the void for it. But that's
Yeah.
cool.
Well,
Congratulations.
currently his job is to make me laugh. So
There you go.
all right, I want to integrate some of this with like business systems. So,
Sure.
where do you see internal mastery and even the pursuit of internal mastery most clearly support our actual businesses, like our external systems? So, sales, leadership, consistency in our business, decision making as leaders. Like we're trying to operate at a pretty high level here and growing our businesses. So, having that internal mastery, how does that support what we're doing externally?
I'll break it down very, very simple, Jody. Anything I do to raise my vibration, my frequency, again, law of physics, you ring one tuning fork, a tuning fork on the same frequency is going to ring without touching it. So what I put out is going to come back to me. And again, just a simple law of physics. And I choose to keep this really, really simple, raise my vibration as much as I possibly can. And that's the discipline and the regiment that I do every day, affirmations, visualizations, really telling my subconscious mind, this is who I am. This is my new self image. My subconscious mind takes that and starts to put everything in my path, all the opportunities. It literally creates in reality what I'm foreseeing in my subconscious mind. And
Mm,
the answer to the question is as long as I keep my vibration up, it doesn't matter if it's sales, if it's marketing, it's all going to benefit because the universe is going to put opportunities in your way. Now, does that mean
mhm.
you're going to get them all? No. But again, keeping that frequency high is going to bring more results than I guess I'll just run another ad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting though. Like as you're saying this, I'm thinking there's a lot of people that hear the word frequency and vibration and stuff like that. And they think that's like so woo woo and it's just mindset without action. They think if I just think it, if I just have the right meditation in my head that I think over and over and over again, it's going to happen.
That
Talk to me about that a little bit.
there's something missing there. One of the books that I've got up here is I'm just drawing a blank right now.
It's fine.
Bob Proctor narrated The Secret. So The Secret was a great book and everybody raved about it. But the one thing it was missing was action. Because if it's if I'm sitting in my house and it's 40 degrees and I'm freezing to death, I can think about it, visualize it. I can, see myself getting warmer. But until I get off my butt and go turn the thermostat up, it's not going to get any warmer. So it's
Mhm.
not just about, you're right. When I first got into this, oh, that's just a bunch of foo foo stuff and that doesn't work. When I finally decided that things weren't working the way I was doing them,
Mhm.
I might as well give this stuff a try and see what happens. I was blown
Mhm.
away. And all I can say is it's just the simple law of physics. Physics works. We are all everything in this universe is matter vibrating at a particular frequency. Would you agree with that, Jody?
Absolutely.
So
100%.
your thoughts, your feelings, the light, sounds, your desk, this microphone, all of it is matter vibrating at a particular frequency.
Yeah.
So we attract what's on the same frequency. If I raise my vibration, my results also go up. Now, it's not just visualizing. I can't just have positive thoughts. Thinking positively is great, but it's like going to the gym and sitting on a exercise machine but not doing anything, right? So let's combine it with the things we should be doing, actually doing those exercises, actually doing some cardio, getting good nutrition. If we do all of that, now we've got more than positive thinking. We are
Mm.
truly reprogramming our subconscious mind, telling our subconscious mind, this is my self image. I'm a successful entrepreneur, top incomer. I'm the CEO. I'm this, I'm that. Whatever it is, now your subconscious mind starts to create those opportunities. So going back to sales or whatever it is that your corporate, goals are, whether it's corporate or entrepreneurial, it doesn't matter. As long as you keep that, you got, and again, more than just thinking positively, affirmations, visualizations, reading personal development, goals, writing them out with a date, meaning they're written in present tense. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have achieved whatever it is, and
Yeah.
you sign it, you're telling the universe, this has already happened. And now
Yeah.
your subconscious mind starts to create those opportunities.
Yeah.
So I know that was a really long answer to the question, but this whole thing supports everything I do, not just my work environment. It's my personal relationships, my finances. Not joking, 2 weeks ago, and I do the affirmations, I attract abundance. Abundance flows to me every single day. I attract wealth. I attract positive people. I got a $3,400 check from AT&T from a class action lawsuit 2 weeks ago. I had no idea.
Wow.
I'm just saying, and I've got tons of examples like that. But most people like, yeah, yeah, whatever. Stuff works. It'll change your
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, all right. I'm sure we could talk for
I
so,
hope I
so
didn't
long.
overwhelm you.
There's a lot, but I want to go through a few rapid fire questions for you. So
Yeah,
just like first thing that comes to mind, these are intended to be fun and like low key. They always end up being deeper conversations. So we're going to give it a try.
no
Okay.
problem.
What's one habit that you refuse to compromise on?
There's a lot.
Yeah. Pick one.
My routine, I will not compromise. And I will tell you that the few times that I have decided to go ahead and compromise, I regret it. So my routine
Mhm.
is my routine. Love me, love my routine, I guess. You know, I,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I
For sure. I actually, side note, I have a tattoo that says no regrets.
there you go. I get up. Back in COVID, all the gyms were closed, and then when they did open them, you had to wear a mask, and it was like 30 minutes to the closest gym. So I built a gym in my house. That's actually detached. So now I have to go out. I go out, I do my workout, I come back in, whether I do cardio or not, eat a big breakfast. That's all part of my routine. I also do my visualizations and affirmations. I read my goals every day when I get up and when I go to bed. I will not compromise that because I know the power that it has, and I know what it's done for me. And what
Mhm.
my passion is showing other people how to achieve the same thing. It's super simple,
Mhm.
but you can't be, well, this probably won't work. I'll give it a shot. No, I'll try it. I'll believe it when I see it. How about you'll see it when you believe it?
Yeah. Oh, goodness. All right. One belief that you had to unlearn in order to get to where you are today.
That I'm not worthy. I had to let that go. I grew up in two alcoholic parents, divorced when I was in first grade. Mom died when I was 13. Dad died when I was 30 of cancer. I went through some, I'm not comparing myself to anybody. Everybody's got a story, but I didn't have the best childhood growing up. It was homeless. I was sleeping in my car. I was literally eating out of trash cans at one point. And I had that mental just this thing stuck in my head that this is all I am. I'm not good enough. And the person that introduced me to personal development, he said, "That's all BS." And
Mm.
he said, You can be anything you want to be." And that's when I started
Mhm.
getting in and doing reading. Whatever happened in the past is the past. Your future is a
Mhm.
blank canvas. You can create anything you
Mhm.
want. So that
Yep.
was the one thing I had to let go was my old self image.
Goodness sakes. All right. Rapid fire, staying on track here. We could talk about that some more, but what's one sign that someone is operating below their standard that you can like identify pretty quick?
Most of all, just energy. I can walk up and spend 60 seconds with someone, and based on their energy, I can probably get pretty close to where they are in their success journey. You can also pick it up by how they interact with other people. This happens a lot in the corporate world. Everybody likes to gossip. Everybody's one of the things that I've seen and some of the trainings I've done for some corporate organizations. What's the first thing most people do when they get up in the morning? They turn on the news. And now they're filling their head with all this crime and corruption, death, destruction, war, and all that political crap that happened overnight. That's what they're starting their day with. Then they go to the office and they mix with other people that do the same thing. All they talk about is, did you hear about this? And, oh, yeah, the boss. You can tell how people interact with other people, where they're at. Energy is, and when they have conversations with other people, you can pick it up pretty quick. My secret is, I don't let a lot of those people get close to me. Sometimes you have to regulate who you spend your time with.
Exactly. Yep. I 100% agree with that. All right. One question that people should ask themselves on a weekly basis.
Is what I'm doing right now taking me closer to my goals or farther away? And that doesn't
Mhm.
matter. It doesn't matter what it is. From the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, you're making thousands of decisions a day. The
Mhm.
one question people should ask themselves is this decision going to get me closer or farther away from my goals? Because people get distracted. You can have great goals, but if you let yourself get distracted and all of a sudden, I could be calling leads right now, but I think I want to go outside and whatever.
Yeah.
You- You're that's a choice. So
Mhm.
that decision going to take you closer or farther away?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. Before we wrap here, if someone's listening and this really resonated with them, where can they learn more about you, about your work, or how they can go deeper with you? And also tell me who your work is not for. I want to hear both.
Who my work is not for?
Yeah.
Huh. That's a good one. And I've been asked that question before. Let me give that some thought. The website is thefrequencyofsuccess.com. The book comes out in a couple weeks. It's way overdue. It was supposed to be out before the end of the year. That's coming out. You can order it now on Amazon for 99 cents, but that's on a Kindle. So when it comes out, we've got a pre-release list, but we've also got programs on there. We've got coaching if somebody's interested in going much deeper into this topic. As far as me, I don't have a schedule up right now for speaking, but that's coming soon. But frequencyofsuccess.com would be the best place.
Very nice. And do you have Instagram, Facebook, stuff like
Yes.
that
And
where
yeah,
people
I was
follow
going to
your work?
mention social medias.
Perfect.
Steve Linton Official is the name on my account. So
Perfect. Awesome. This
Wait,
has
now
been
I'm
a
gonna answer the other question because I almost forgot it.
oh,
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
who is this not for? There's probably several answers to that question, but the most general answer I'll give is somebody that thinks they've already got it all figured out and will
Mhm.
not listen to any kind of feedback.
Yeah.
So, and I run into those. "No, I'm doing good. I'm doing good." Okay. I mean, again, go back to Michael Jordan. Doesn't matter how good he was, he still kept practicing. He still kept training. And whether it's, me or the next person or anybody, find somebody to learn from. When I played sports, I always liked playing with people that were better than me
Yeah.
because I got better. And
Yeah.
that's the general principle.
Yeah, for sure. I think anybody that says, "Oh, I don't need help," is either lying to themselves or that maybe they truly believe that, and I feel very sorry for them, honestly. My goodness, this
Humility.
has been yeah, go ahead.
Humility. People that have some humility can say, "You know what? I don't have it all figured out. And even if I think I do, I probably should keep working."
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. This has been a really powerful conversation, honestly. I have a lot to think about post interview here. I'll probably be mulling it over the next, week or so as we're working through this episode to get the content put out there. But at the end of the day, success isn't necessarily about motivation, right? Like we can't necessarily be motivated to get to the next level about discipline. It's about the standard that you hold when things get uncomfortable and when you exist with fear. So, if this resonated with you, make sure that you check out Steven's work. We are going to link everything in the show notes so you can click the links around this video and connect with Steven. So, let's raise your standard, lead yourself first, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks, Jody.
Thank you, Steven.